Namaste. Oh, it wasn't too long. That felt like it was a really long one. It was quite long. We do have a book on mudras, which is yoga of the hands. I'm not sure if it's this channel or our Shinto self-empowerment channel. So we've been brave today. We're going to do the last of the books today. They've sorted them out. The full moon's at 19:16 or 7:16 tonight. And UK time is the same as universal time, which I think is the time which is universal around the globe, if we're correct. We've come across it a few times now, and someone just said it as well on another video. So we've got our moon water out so that it gets the build up of the moon energies. And I think moon rise, let's just check, is this, I think it's this, we haven't done it for a while actually. We'll probably bring it in before we go to bed. Do we have anything tonight? No, so we'll probably bring it in around midnight-ish. So it has some of the, so it's got the waxing up to the full moon of Leo energies, and then the waning down a little bit, but not too much of the waning down, because we're a triple Aquarius, but one's our sun and our moon, and the sun's in Aquarius at the moment, and our south node. So there's lots of Aquarius energies going on. So from what we understand of astrology so far, when one's using it as a self-discovery tool, then one's ascendant, one's rising sign is kind of like their destination. And the north node is also kind of like the destination and its purpose, whereas the south node is like past karma, past action. So both our north node and our rising ascendant is in Leo. So it's Leo Virgo cusp actually. That's irrelevant. Oh, it's 29 degrees and it's the 29th tomorrow. So the idea is to get more of the expansive, the waxing Leo full moon energies, and not so much of the waning energies, because those are the energies that we're kind of our destination, I suppose. Is that where destiny comes from? Yeah. I don't know if that's a yeah to me or something else. So moon rise is at 4:37 p.m. So actually we'll get the start of the moonrise for a few hours as well. And it's at 8:51 a.m. tomorrow that the moon sets. We did discover one time actually that this, I don't think it happens very often. And it'd be interesting for us to look back when we collaborate all this information, and we love our maths and we love our stats and we love our science. So there'll be all kinds of graphs and statistics to go with this as we gather the information, analyze it, evaluate it, consolidate it, do our tarot with it, to do our own journey of memories and integration. And then we'll have all that other bits of information to go with it as well. So it'll be really interesting to see how it all aligns and reconciles actually. But there's a period of time where the sun and the moon actually rise at the same time and set pretty much at the same time. There's just a few minutes difference, which was fascinating whenever that was. I think it was a few months ago-ish, when we discovered that. And the moon, I mean, the sun only changes like a few minutes each day, earlier in the morning because it's it's getting longer days here now, lighter days, and then later at night, whereas the moon's about, I don't know, around 45 minutes or an hour difference each day. But the moon shifts zodiac signs every 2 to 3 days, whereas the sun shifts zodiac signs every 28 to 31 days, average 30, 31. So they were still working on the fear yesterday with the copyright, and it was going on behind the scenes so that the prefrontal lobar cortex, the conscious mind, doesn't get too bombarded and overloaded with stress and the fear, especially when the younger alters are out more. We say, okay, you all sort it out behind the scenes. Like, you sit down at the round table, you discuss with each other, you sort it out. Conscious eyes can't handle it. And then when you come to some kind of agreement or have got some ideas, then, bring it forward. So I think that was going on yesterday because no books were read yesterday. But our own videos were done and we tweaked our own videos. The 2 daily poem reads. And there was a third one as well. No. So there's 2 daily poem reads, and then there was the 2 recordings, the video kind of vlog, diary kind of thing, which, so when things get really bad and we go really young, they come out on Facebook and do a live. And it's different to whether they're on the personal page or the Shinto self-empowerment page. And I think they were both on the personal page, which means we were really vulnerable. We were really young. That's what I've kind of figured out from the paternology of our actions, playing detective. So this morning, the phone call didn't happen with that, I think, media team last night, but we sent them an email. I think we've got until tomorrow when the deal closes. So if we haven't heard back with them in the email, I think today we might, hopefully, it's good we said this actually, I didn't know, so put a message in, I don't know, the VIP community group thing, but we can never find it very easy, and then we can never figure it out. But so that would be good practice to redo that again. I think we've only been on there twice or 3 times. Because that's important, and that's going to be we've worked out we can afford it financially. It's going to be our 41st birthday present to ourselves. And it's investing in our future of a possible scenario, possible outcome, a possible something that could, in a few years' time, earn us money somehow when things all become clearer. Because I know we're all going to grow up more. I know we're going to become more co-conscious. I know we've got a lot of beautiful gifts and stuff to offer, but how it all comes together, we don't know. And we don't need to know. We've just got to continue on with our meditations, all our different styles of meditations, and trust it will unfold. And we do. We trust more and more from the experiences and the processes that we're going through that it will just all come together. And that we won't have to, like everyone tells you to, and like we've always learned how to plan and strategy. I mean, there will be some plans and some strategies and some goals, but there will be a different format and a different style to how we've always learned it before, because it causes too much stress for us. Whereas this being able to be so connected with our inner worlds and our inner selves, and trusting our heart and having it all aligned just takes that stress out of it, because when necessary, we can trust ourselves, trust our intuition, trust our guidance, think and act on our feet in the moment whenever necessary. And hence the idea of becoming present. We realized this morning that the word goal, the word targets, the word rules, setting ourselves all this stuff is actually being changed to guidelines. That we set ourselves guidelines because it's a focus, an aim, a kind of direction, because we've always used to have a 5-year plan, but we always used to like to not go by that 5-year plan. But if we didn't have that 5-year plan, I don't know, it'd cause stress, or we'd go away, or we'd have no focus or no direction. So it guided us. So yeah, we've changed that to that this morning. The phone's kind of been going a bit mad, so we did actually pluck up the courage and answer it once, which we never normally do. And then the person on the other end hung up, so we're not answering it anymore. But at least we're doing little baby steps each time, which is helping us grow, which is fantastic. So we're going to do these books. Yoga sound. Sound is anything. It doesn't have to be chanting. It doesn't have to be singing. It can be gargling. It can be making whatever sound needs to come out of you in that moment. Hence another reason why we do what we do with reading the books, because we're producing sound. And every time we produce sound, our vocal cords subtly vibrate. So from our nerve touch Thai massage course, the difference with that is they call it sen lines rather than meridians or nadis, which are the channels that the energy flows down. So what they do with the tendons and ligaments is they pluck it like a guitar. So if you think about when you're playing a guitar, if you've seen someone playing a guitar, it's plucking the string that makes the vibration. So it's going into also the concept and the therapy of shaking medicine. So rather than shaking vigorously from an external perspective, one is shaking subtly and internal perspectives down the vocal cords, deep into the stomach, into the intestines, so that all the intestines get shaken and vibrated so that they can loosen up and do what they need to do on a subtle, energetic level to restructure, reorganize themselves back into the optimum Celtic knots, the optimum alignment that they need to be in for the body to function properly. And it's about, whereas the yoga that we've learned with the Iyengar yoga, about strengthening, and we completely understand why, because when one hits the center of their core, their body, the Kundalini energy, the energy is so intense and so strong that when that gets released, it can cause havoc. And having a body with EDS where you subluxate and dislocate, it causes havoc. And so that's why they build you from your limbs of action, your peripheral nervous system, to make your limbs of action strong, because your peripheral nervous system counterbalances your central nervous system, and your central nervous system is your emotional house. So if your peripheral nervous system is strong, it can counterbalance your emotions so that you don't go awry or lose control of one's emotions. But we're living in a day and age where it is so fast and there's so much going on that we are suffering more and more central nervous system disorders. So there has to be a new approach. And the new approach is, we were just reading an article on the weather and the vortex of the North Pole and how it affects you've normally got the stratosphere, which is above, and then, we can't even remember the bottom one. Then there's the bottom one. And normally when they talk about weather patterns, it's the stratosphere they're talking about, which is higher up, when actually it's the bottom one that's been affected now. And the North and South Pole are shifting. So there's just shifting happening everywhere, and there's shifting happening in our bodies. So one of our purpose is to share what we are learning, because we did it by the book. We did it by the book from lots of different books, from teachers, not necessarily the books, literally, a metaphor. And it didn't work for us. It gave us what we needed to know, so that when we got to this point and everything crumbled and everything broke and we ended up in that psych ward, coming 2 to 8 people restraining us, not knowing what the hell was going on, we had everything in us that we needed. One of the main mantras being, our subconscious never gives us anything we cannot handle. And we needed that being chucked in the deep end, because that's how we've always learnt. but although we're changing our learning patterns now, to, I suppose, kick in the survivors in us, the travelers, the ones that travel, you know, etc. So yeah, we're going to share the journey as we are doing now. It's going to progress. We're going to end up writing a course. The first few units of the course are going to be free, so it's accessible to everyone, because we've always struggled for money and always had whatever jobs. Yeah. I don't know where we're going now, what we're talking about, so I'm coming to an end of that. But we were talking about the copyright thing. So the copyright thing's really affected us, because if we get 3 strikes, then we lose all our YouTube channels. So, I mean, if that happens at the end of the day, that's obviously what's meant to happen, but it causes fear, because we've only just found a modality of potentially earning an income down the line to become self-sufficient again, because it's so important for us to be self-sufficient and not be relying on benefits or the taxpayer. Hence another reason why we do this, to share our knowledge, to share our experience, so that we're giving something back and we're not just taking. But we've never just taken, and we've always given more than we've taken. So it is about finding that balance. And we are going to be going into an introspective stage when Mercury retrograde hits, but we're still in the manifestation stage. We did our daily poem read, which was it's one about Venus time. Welcome, Venus energies. We could do with some of you right now. Thank you. It was on our Shinto self-empowerment page. It's a vision board that we created and that we love, in I think it was about 2011, 2012, and the candle's still lit. There wasn't any tools used apart from just our sounding, our humming, and we had a white sage for clearing out the negative energies. It's actually scientifically proven to change the atmospheric state with the ions. Our Palo Santo, which does the same, but more, it's a kind of more of a reset, and it's more of a trauma reset. So it's kind of, we've heard it talk specifically to do with trauma and resetting on the frequencies. It's not just about changing the ionic state in the atmosphere. And then our sweetgrass, which then brings in the positive energies. So it was about using nature's tools and minimal tools and the tools that are in our body. The candle's still going, so I think they're going to do the evening poem over there as well. And I think the evening poem's going to be just before or just before the full moon and over the full moon. So we're showing our unique way of manifesting, which we've been doing for years as well. And the vision board, I suppose the vision board says it all, really. So that's interesting to see. And then the younger ones have already planned out that tomorrow the vision board comes down, and the vision board's in front of these dead flowers that we got given around about Christmas time. And I think they represent symbolically, because the subconscious doesn't know past and future, and the subconscious is like a child. It's all symbolic. So it represents the life, death, life cycle. So tomorrow the vision board will come away, and we'll be doing it on our personal channel, because we're changing our name, and that will be like a goodbye to our name, I suppose, because our documents should be arriving soon with our new name. So that's really interesting as well, how that's all unfolding. And we've managed to write a bit of a blurb. Still needs a lot more editing and coming back to, but we've done the first stage of the bit of the blurb. It was really long. So the extra details that we always put in too much is on is on our Word document, so that if we do get anyone come to us, there's already a base guidelines of what we can then adapt to, depending, because, you know, if we're in a younger altar that can't do that, it might get ignored for a while. Whereas if we've got a template there, it takes away the stress. So that's excellent. We've kind of tried to summarize it a bit. We've put it in the information below. So yeah, the information below needs to get looked at and adjusted, but there's lots of information below about what the ShintoSE yoga experience is, apologizing if we've violated any, I think that's the word, copyright stuff, and to please contact us first so that we can sort it out together and not YouTube, explaining why we're doing what we're doing. There's no intention to copyright or make money out of this at the moment. It's purely healing. And when we do make money, the money's not going to be made out of the book stuff. The money's going to be made out of us doing our own videos. and producing our own material, not using other people's materials, because we've got so many amazing photographs from traveling. We want to create our own music. There's all kinds of things, but we're just too young. We can't do it at the moment. So we trust that the multiverse has our back. We trust that we're going to continue on these cycles, going into the younger alters and clearing more trauma frequencies, but we're trusting that we're more and more now getting co-conscious, talking to each other, working together, dancing together, and that everything's unfolding as it's meant to be, because it's been there about the copyright stuff somewhere, but until we got this nudge and this happening, we haven't actually been able to put it into place. And for extra being put into place, we do plan to email and request permission from all the books if it's necessary. I mean, if we find out that it's necessary only for certain topics or categories or something, then we will just do that, because we don't want to exert loads of energy when it's unnecessary, when there isn't loads of energy to exert in that way. But this is why the bundle deal for YouTube with for the YouTube growing thing, influencer thing with Think Media and Sean Cannell is so good, because you get that kind of support and that coaching from what I can gather. So yeah, more clarity, more connecting, more applying. We're doing what we can do to the best of our ability, and we just have to trust whatever unfolds is unfolding and happening for a reason. Thank you for listening. We will get round to doing timestamps, so you don't have to listen to all this in future, and you can just move forward with ease. So, a bit of understanding for the yoga of sound. Tapping the Hidden Power of Music and Chant by Russell Paul, author of Jesus in the Lotus. A new classic in both yoga and spirituality, from the foreword by Wayne Teasdale. Yeah, and they've even been thinking about, because we've attempted to start, trying to write down and take information off to see where we're at, but just the way we're doing it takes so long. But of course, we've done an advanced Excel, an advanced Word course. We've done so many courses and admin courses and touch typing. So that's why we end up doing auto writing thought language. The body just goes, and that's why we then just allow the body to do whatever, and then I have to go back and trace our steps to see what's been written and print some stuff off. There's a lot to do, but there are some stuff that's already been printed off. It's like journaling, I suppose, but because the writing's not readable, we can write for a bit and then it gets tired, and then the handwriting changes, and then we can never read it back, so that doesn't work. So this is like really good then. And I think we saw a microphone on Word, so that we know that Word's been able to dictate to it before, but we've never been able to find it or use it. Whereas now we saw it had a microphone, and so hopefully we'll be able to just dictate into Word when we want to maybe speak something out, but write it down. Rather, if you want to maybe write your autobiography or a story or something or a poem, we can do that and then go in and edit it, because different ones come back and do editing at different times, and that'll be a lot easier. So we can just put a spreadsheet together, write in all the books. You don't have to put the books in order. You can just write in a book at whatever time, and then you can do the filter and organise it alphabetically, or organise it by author or book title, yoga or something. So yeah, there's lots of skills that we've done over our life that are going to start coming back into play. And that's what this next year is going to be about. Not a linear year. This last year has been a Leo full moon to a Leo full moon. We get 2 weeks break, and then the next year is going to be an Aquarius new moon to an Aquarius new moon. So it'll be interesting to see what unfolds. But Aquarius is all to do with technology. Yes, it is, isn't it? Technology and computers and friends and communities and humanitarian aid stuff, isn't it? Yeah. Bless. This book is a sacrament, a reminder of the holy temple that our bodies truly are. Matthew Fox, author of Original Blessing. For thousands of years, Hindu spirituality has understood the profound effect that sound has on our well-being. From this tradition comes the yoga of sound, which draws on yoga's long history of applying sound to reduce stress, maintain health, and invoke spiritual awakenings. In lucid exercises presented both in the book and on accompanying downloadable audio tracks, Russell Paul shows how everyone can learn the art of mantra and how these practices can help to optimize the flow of energy within the body and enhance emotional well-being. From heart to mind, from body to spirit, Russell Paul weaves the powers of sound into the practical and inspirational union of East and West. A rare and important book, The Yoga of Sound goes into the depth of an ancient power with ease and artistry, accompanied by a CD. This book is actualized and inspired by a fine teacher and extraordinary performer. Don Campbell, author of The Mozart Effect. Polly Tommo! Yeah, we've got that, haven't we? We don't have a CD player though, but we Google it, don't we? Yeah, Auntie Ursula listened to all that. Yeah, she did, didn't she? Oh, this is our Auntie Ursula, who's the ex-nun. Yeah, her husband's been amazing via email on occasions. Not amazing on occasions, in emails on occasions. From Larry Dosey, MD, author of The Extraordinary Heading Power of On Ordinary Things. Music is woven together through nature, from our own DNA to the galaxies. And that is why it is a source of transformation and wisdom. Russell Paul is a master guide in his domain. His work is clear evidence that music is much too powerful to be used as mere entertainment. Powerful but gentle. It can take you deep. And from Paul Winter, musician. Sound may well be the undiscovered realm for the salvation of our wayward human species. The sages of India have known this for millennia. In The Yoga of Sound, Russell Paul presents a comprehensive and accessible summary of this ancient tradition and shows us how we can incorporate those time-honoured practices into our overly visual and busy Western lives. This book is a vital gift for our times. The music of Russell Paul is not only distinctive, it is extraordinary and brilliant. His fusion of the sounds of India with the energy and technology of contemporary Western music produces a sound unequaled since George Harrison collaborated with Ravi Shankar in the late 1960s. And that was from Arlo Guthrie, musician. As always, apologies. Please forgive us for mispronunciations of anything. And then from Dom Bede Griffiths, author of The Golden String. Russell Paul has remarkable music gifts, but his music has also been enriched and deepened by spiritual training and practice so that it has the power to awaken profound healing feelings. Russell Paul is a world-renowned musician as well as a teacher of Eastern spirituality. He performs and teaches throughout the world and trains students through his yogic mystery school. He is the author of Jesus in the Lotus. His website is www.russellpaul.com, RUSSILLPAUL. Contents. This was interesting. We've just been brought all rights reserved. I think that's the copyright stuff, isn't it? And it says this book may not be reproduced. So I think this counts as reproducing it a bit. But no, it says, except by a reviewer who may quote brief passages in a review. And we're just doing the contents and the forwards. We've not read anything else in the book. And that's all we've done, just saying, and that's all we've done on any of them. So that counts as brief passages, doesn't it? So yeah, it will become clearer and it will come together and we'll get an email done and we'll get email sent. We're not reading any of the book, we're just reading the forwards or the introduction. And there's so many people, not so many people, but we've had I'm sure we've had a handful of people already buy the books because of us reading them out, which that's good for business, isn't it? Oh, it's all confusing, but it's okay. We don't need to get confused now. Hi, darling. Zendaya says hello to you all. Contents. Forward by Wayne Teasdale. Preface to the paperback edition. Acknowledgements. Introduction. Part 1, Yoga. A way of harmony, balance, and ecstasy. Could you think it's a yoga book as well, that the philosophy would be for people's healing? No? Again, I know we think certain things and it's very different to the way others think. Chapter 1, Balancing a Vision and Sound. Hi, darling. Chapter 2, Yoking Ourselves to the Cosmic. Chapter 3, The Marriage of Body and Soul. Part 2, Mantra, the Soul of Yoga. Chapter 4, Mantra in an Interspiritual Age. Chapter 5, The Sanskrit Mantra. Chapter 6, Building Our Sonic Community. Part 3, Tradition, the 4 major streams of sacred sound in Hinduism. Chapter 7, Shabda Yoga, the spiritual technology of Vedic mantras. Chapter 8, Shakti Yoga, renewing energy through tantric mantras. Chapter 9, Bhava Yoga, finding ecstasy through Bhakti mantras. Chapter 10, Nada Yoga, meditation through sound and music. Part 4, Practice, the elements of sound yoga. Chapter 11, Preparation and Mantra Shastra. Chapter 12, Posture. Chapter 13, The Breath. Chapter 14, Sound. Chapter 15, Movement. Chapter 16, Consciousness. Part 5, Integration, living the life of a sound yogi. Chapter 17, Living the Yoga of Sound. Epilogue. Appendix 1, Shabda Yoga Vedic Mantras. Appendix 2, Shakti Yoga, Tantric Mantras. Appendix 3, Bhava Yoga, Bhakti Mantras. Appendix 4, Nada Yoga, Tones, Practices and Meditations. Programs and resources, endnotes, index, track information for Yoga of Sound. Audio companion about the author. To Bede, Bede, Griffiths, 1906 to 1993. My spiritual father, mentor and dear friend, your love and light shine through this work. Forward. Certain forms of music, like beautiful fragrances, awaken associations in us that are primordial, eternal, and ultimate. These timeless associations call us to the core of our spiritual being. They address something in us that cannot die or be corrupted, a yearning that reaches out to the infinite. This is sonic mysticism, a reality we can all encounter in our lives if we open ourselves to the experience. Sonic mysticism is the spirituality of sound expressing the divine reality. The Sufis say that some music grants us a faint experience of God, an echo of divine reality and presence. The Hindu tradition, in its practical understanding of sound in the mystical life, tells us that music is God when it reaches its ultimate purity, focus, and effectiveness in opening the heart, mind, and spirit. Place God for whatever word makes you comfortable. Source energy, Buddha, Allah, humanitarian, whatever you want to replace it to. It's that connection to the cosmos, to nature, to your central self, your heart, deeper heart. Music and sound permeate the cosmos. Perhaps all universes and realms, including heaven itself. Experiments in the physics of acoustics have demonstrated that sound affects reality by actually creating structure. And you've got, cinema, oh, we can't say it. You know, where you can actually see sound now. You've got a magnetic plate which they put music and vibrations into, and you can put sand on it, and the sand will produce a pattern depending on what frequencies put into it. And they can do that with other things as well now. They can do it in water and all kinds of things. And it's Dr. Emirotto that does the water and crystallizing it so that you can see the pictures of the snowflakes and how beautiful or harmonic they are, depending what frequencies, what words have been put into them. Using radio telescopes, astronomers have found sound throughout every corner of the universe. They have also discovered that something of the haunting sounds that inspire our most sacred music in many traditions are actually cosmic sonic elements. The sounds of the universe itself. This astounding discovery suggests how intimately we are connected with the cosmic matrix and how deeply it affects us all. It is also clear from consciousness studies that the music, chant, and sound have direct and dramatic effects on consciousness. It doesn't take much to realize how profound a role music often plays in our lives. This sonic principle is indispensable to the full development of the human, particularly in relation to the mystical journey, the moral, intellectual, psychological, and spiritual evolution of individuals, communities, nations, and the entire human family. An angel holding a violin once appeared to St. Francis of Assisi, as the angel ran the bow very slowly over the strings. The heavenly music emanating from the instrument sent the saint into an intense ecstasy. Many of us have had similar mystical experiences. I remember listening to an angelic piece of music by David Hike's harmonic choir. Yeah, he came up in our sound healing. I think we've got him here. Yeah, hearing solar winds, David Hike's and the harmonic choir. Look at that, what a perfect coincidence. And that was with the College of Sound Healing. We're just having inspiration coming to us now that maybe we shouldn't just put the book title in the title, and maybe we should add something else in, because maybe it's not people that send the information or see it that make the complaint. Maybe it's a computer system or a robot. And so they might look into the, for instance, if the thumbnail's the picture of the book or the title. So if we adjust the title and maybe use a different thumbnail, then the algorithms might miss it. Maybe that's a good idea. And then, because otherwise it might be irrelevant what we've done in the bottom, and we just might get more strikes, even though we've done our best to overcome it. Okay. I remember listening to an angelic piece of music by David Hike's harmonic choir, having received the CD as a Christmas gift. I opened it just before retiring one evening and reclined in my favourite chair. I cannot say what happened, except that it propelled me to a mystical state that is impossible to describe. It literally took me beyond this world. Such is the spiritual power of music. Russell Paul's The Yoga of Sound relates to these experiences, but really it is an entirely unique work in a class all of its own. There are hundreds of books on yoga, and some of them are outstanding, but this book is a pioneering achievement in sonic mysticism. Russell has been my dear friend for many years. We shared a common spiritual guide in Betty Griffiths, and we first developed our friendship in the monastic community of Shantivanam ashram in South India 18 years ago. We continue to enjoy a spiritual brotherhood through collaborative practice and teaching into the present day. Knowing him as I do, I will not hesitate to identify Russell as a musical and spiritual genius. And this book is evidence of his gifts. coming from the Indian tradition of sound yoga, a decisively contemplative means of achieving integration with the divine. Russell's writing and work stand on the shoulders of giants going back thousands of years. No other tradition has gone further, deeper, and higher than the Indian in exploring sound as a mystical method of union with the absolute. This entire Indian body of spiritual wisdom has many strands. The West has embraced the physical strand of Hatha yoga, but most of the other strands remain unknown in the West. This brilliant but very accessible and practical book illuminates not only the sonic element, but how the many strands of yoga tradition fit together. Yeah, the younger ones, the younger altars have taught us that we communicate like dolphins. We used to listen at the bathroom portal in the bath in some of our most worst states. We've listened to dolphin music and whale music and all kinds of different animal sounds. And I don't understand it really, but I know it works, and it's a sonic. Yeah, they call it sonic, which they've got from the dolphins. So they're just impressed that they're reading that now. We've combined sonic with Fibonacci. As a master of sonic mysticism, Russell has developed his own synthesis of this profoundly rich and effective tradition. He has assimilated this tradition through his intense study and contemplative life, and he has discovered a way to articulate it in terms intelligible to Western culture. Russell makes a very persuasive case for incorporating this sonic science into the Western practice of yoga. This is a remarkable achievement, and one that didn't come easy. Russell's understanding of the needs of the American culture and its great diversity, along with his knowledge of how much this sonic dimension can enrich our culture, have been his constant motivations. He has given us the gift of sound yoga as a spiritual practice, until now a barely discovered means to enlightenment. Samadhi, the eighth limb of yoga, self-realization, one of the goals of the yoga of sound is an infinite pure consciousness that transcends the vagaries of time. This pure consciousness, the non-dual reality we all share as our deeper nature, is the destiny of sonic mysticism. In bringing about this emergence into pure consciousness, the yoga of sound, as Russell points out, is an alchemy of the soul. Although this practice will facilitate healing and relaxation, Russell shows us that arriving at and dwelling in pure consciousness is its final purpose. This purpose requires us to know the fullness of immortal, pure, and immutable consciousness, our common ground and the basis of our reality. Russell's book fills an important need in third millennial spirituality. Until now, there has been very little to represent this dimension of spiritual life in Western mystical studies and practical discipline. Doubtless, the publication of this volume will inspire others of its type, but it would be very hard to equal what has been accomplished in these pages. This book is a new classic in both yoga and spirituality. Its impact will be felt around the world for ages to come. And that's from Wayne Teasdale, Chicago, Illinois, March 2004. And if we do come back to do the more later on, it'll be the preface to the paperback edition and the introduction. But yeah, I don't think we're going to do too much more on anything else until we understand the copyright stuff more. Namaste. Welcome to the ShintoSE yoga experience with Shinto self-empowerment. I'm Zanoni Snowflake. Much love.